Hey everyone, Reflected here, and today I'd like to show you what you'll get with the new Normandy 2 update and how they will affect my 3 Normandy campaigns: Nose Bastards of Bodney, The Big Show, and Jagdflieger. I've seen a lot of false information spreading on the web how I won't update my campaigns, but that's nonsense. I spent the past 2-3 months working really hard, not only to make them compatible with the new map update, but also to bring them to a whole new level. First, I'd like to thank Media, who handled the whole thing in a really cool way, and they were super helpful assisting me to make sure my campaigns get updated smoothly and seamlessly. Before I go on, let me summarize the changes in a nutshell. Everyone who has Normandy 1 will have their map updated automatically to, let's call it Normandy 1.5, for free. You can't keep Normandy 1 unless you stop updating DCS from now on. So the current map area will receive new textures, objects, more accurate airfields, and a lot of amazing detail. On top of this, the map will become much larger, and although the extra area will be lower detail on the 1.5 version, it will have a number of fully functional new airfields. Again, all this for free. Jagdflieger has done a terrific job, and this free update alone is easily worth $10. But if you decide to pay those $10-15, you get a lot more. Normandy 2. The same as the 1.5 map, except the entire area is highly detailed, even London and Paris, except the area around the Pas de Calais, but we have the channel map to cover that. So that's the story in a nutshell. Bottom line is, Jagdflieger put in a lot of research and effort, and we're getting most of it for free. Paying $10 for the full upgrade is a no-brainer. It's a steal. Do it. Even if just to support World War II developers, they deserve it. So what does this mean for my campaigns? The good news is that the Normandy 1.5 and 2 maps are fully compatible with each other, so there is no need to make and maintain 2 different versions of each campaign, which is a huge relief for me. The airfields and parking spots are the same. 2 guys can be flying over Paris in multiplayer without any problems, one using Normandy 2 and the other one the 1.5 version. They won't even know. It's just that the city will look way better for the first guy. However, the Normandy 1 map is not compatible with 1.5 or 2, so I did have to rework my first 3 campaigns. I had to double check the location of each unit, where there used to be a field, now there may be trees or houses, so I had to rearrange all ground units. That's hundreds and hundreds of units in each mission. Then the layout of many airfields changed, so I had to completely rearrange all statics and aircraft, parking positions, trigger zones, takeoff and taxi order, and so on. But I didn't simply update my campaigns to be compatible with Normandy 1.5 or 2. I also updated them to version 2.0. These 3 were my first campaigns ever released, and I've learned a lot about both the DCS mission editor and World War II history since then. And now these campaigns are up to current standards, as if they have just been released now. Let's see what happened to them. First, the Nose Bastards of Bodney. On top of all the above under the hood changes, I took this opportunity to correct many skins, fighter and bomber formations, speeds, more realistic weather, revised and smoother triggers, tactics, procedures, extra voiceovers, new events. I updated fuel loadouts to more realistic levels too. The layout of Chailly Airfield also changed completely, so rearranging everything there also took a lot of time and testing. Some of the missions also changed fundamentally. I spiced up the intro mission a little, so now it's more than just sightseeing. You may or may not meet George Preddy. Then there's mission 4. Until now it was a bomber escort to Rouen, but now it's a raid on the Gare du Nord in Paris. The mission has become quite a bit longer, and I know many players will complain, but I don't care, sorry. This mission is now the most realistic 8th Air Force bomber escort experience I've ever flown in any sim. It's because it's so long that it's so immersive. Those who play flight sims for the same reason as me, reenacting history, will absolutely love it. Then Mission 7 used to be a fighter sweep to Evreux, and now it's to Evreux and then the airfield of Creil, with lots of optional targets and other flies that you may or may not meet. Because the weather, the airfield layout, and some of the routes changed, I had to rework all briefing and kneeboard images too. This was very time consuming and probably my least favorite part of campaign making. Also, since we have accurate magnetic deviation now, all campaign maps use magnetic courses, so make sure you set your directional gyro accordingly. Last but not least, I added a little surprise cutscene to further increase immersion. I know you love those, and so do I. Then there's the Jagdflieger campaign for the Me-109K. All of the changes I mentioned above apply here as well. Skins, formation, tactics, I'm not going to repeat them. The missions that change fundamentally are Mission 2, which is now a bomber intercept over Paris, and Mission 5, the low-level attack on Portsmouth Harbor. On the Normandy 1 map, England was a low-detail area, but now there's an actual shipyard that you will attack. It looks much better. I was lucky with the airfields in this campaign. Carpiquet and Evreux didn't change a whole lot. This campaign also got a new surprise cutscene. And last but not least, the big show. Of course, I've done all the under-the-hood changes mentioned before and everything else, but apart from these, this campaign changed the least out of the three. It's because the missions recreate historical events, so there wasn't much room for creativity and changing missions. The biggest change is that Mission 8, the attack on the V1 launch site at Ligecourt, now uses the actual location, not just a stand-in, because it wasn't part of the Normandy 1 map. There's a catch about the big show though. I wouldn't call it the Big Show 2.0 just yet, like the two other campaigns. It's more like a 1.5 version. It's still work in progress. It's because I'm planning to rearrange the missions to use airfields that are closer to the historically accurate ones. On Normandy 1, Ford airfield stood in for Biggin Hill, but now we have better and closer ones. But this will require a lot of work. Only then will I update all the briefing images and kneeboard cards in order to avoid double work. So at this moment, some of the briefing images will have outdated information, but nothing serious that would prevent you from completing the missions. Just a different airfield layout or different QNH, etc. This affects missions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8, so about half of them still have work in progress documentation. I'm hoping to finalize this campaign before the end of 2023. I know many of you ask, what about the channel map campaigns, so Wolfpack, Horrido, Beware Beware, and V for Victory? Well, the channel map is a completely different map, not connected, so those campaigns remain unaffected. Just because the two maps partially overlap geographically, code-wise, they're totally separate maps. Just because both maps have Dover, the game doesn't automatically recognize and realizes the same Dover, and the roads, houses, trees, and everything probably won't even match 100%. Consequently, you can't move a mission from one map to another without having to rebuild them from scratch. It's not drag and drop. Not to mention that all the areas of interest in these campaigns are not on the Normandy 2 map. Let me give you an example. Let's move V for Victory, my Mosquito campaign, to Normandy 2, shall we? But it's based at Manston, which is not on the Normandy 2 map. Okay, no problem, let's use a different one, say West Malling. But then I'll have to rework the briefing images and the kneeboard maps, directions, routes, and consequently the navigator's voiceovers. Okay, what about the Amiens prison raid in Mission 5? There is no Amiens prison. What about the raid on Lille? There is no Lille. Attack on Saint-Omer? We don't have it. half the campaign happens in the winter of 1944, but Normandy 2 doesn't have snow. So let's come up with entirely different stories and mission ideas and change basically every single voiceover and briefing, keyboard visual, everything. I would be building a different, brand new campaign from scratch. The only thing I could use from V for Victory would be the skins. For what? I hope you see why it's totally nonsense and never gonna happen. If I wanted to build a whole new campaign, I would just build a whole new campaign instead of calling it an update, let alone a free one. By the way, I hear a lot of noise about how the channel map is now irrelevant. Bullshit. It looks just as good as Normandy 2, and although there is some overlap, the areas of focus and details are very different, and in my opinion, both are a must-have for any DCS players who are into World War II. Not to mention it has winter textures too. The way I see it, Normandy is perfect for missions just before and after D-Day, and the channel works really well for 1939 to early 1944 scenarios. I secretly dream and wish that one day ED would expand the channel map to the north to include the 8th Air Force bases in East Anglia, and to the east to include Holland and maybe part of Germany. That would be amazing. Oh, and in case you were wondering, all my campaign updates are completely free. No need to pay to upgrade. If you already own my campaigns, they will be updated automatically through the DCS updater. If you buy them now, you'll get the new version. It was a lot of work, but totally worth it. As I said, these were my first 3 campaigns ever released, and now they're up to current standards so I can sleep well at night. If you want to support me, you can thank me by buying some of my other campaigns that you don't own yet, or by clicking on the Super Thanks button below. Alright, I hope you liked this video and it answered every question you may have had about this topic. If not, let me know in the comments. I hope you'll enjoy playing the updated versions of these campaigns over the beautiful new Normandy 1.5 or 2 maps. Please don't forget to subscribe for further campaign updates. See ya!